Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together at 10:30 in the morning live here on Facebook. Today is Thursday, June 18, and as you know, we gather every single day of the week live to share headlines and stories about things that are going on around the world, near us, far from us, and how these things affect us here in Puerto Vallarta. If you're new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco. And if you're new, please let us know that you're new by writing the word new in the comments. That way we will give you a good welcome. We want to know where you're from. We want to know that you're doing okay. We want to know how you found out about Coffee and Headlines. And I see a lot of familiar faces joining us this morning. Good morning to all. And Terry has a special shout out to her sister. Hi, Linda, who's watching from the U.S. It's great to see that there are people that join us from all kinds of places just to find out how life is like for us here living in Puerto Vallarta. As you know, we focus on things that are important and interesting to tourists, but more importantly, we focus on topics that are important to those of us that live here year around. Harv says hello from Hamilton, Canada. Lots of nice people joining us. I don't see any new people yet, but again, if you type the word new in your comment, we will be happy to give you a proper hello. Luna is here with us this morning, actually. She likes to stay. Oh, look at her. She is actually in her summer mode. Everything is too hot, she says to me all the time, but she's always happy to join me. Today, we're going to take a look at more commentary about this strange tree removal along the banks of the Rio Ptl. We also have more news about COVID-19, of course, and more news about the new Versalles initiative to promote local restaurants there. So we might as well get started with our headlines. And yes, here we are, and here it is. A lot has been said over the past couple of days about this. What you're looking at is the Ptl River. This is the river that meets the ocean between La Isla Shopping Center and the other one. I forget the name of it right now. The one where the banks are. Apparently over the past couple of days, the municipal government decided to clear all this area from trees. And as you can see from these images, from this image, the amount of trees that were removed is quite substantial. A lot of people like to jog along both banks of the river. There are trails. Now, the local government has come forth and said that this is within the guidelines of what is permitted by the proper authorities, the authorities that look after our flora and fauna, and that the river was cleaned to allow for water to be able to drain during the rainy season. Now, the strange thing about this is that number one, the river has not overflowed in over 20 years, as I understand it. And number two, it just seems unusual that this happened. Now, of course, the deed is done, and it is difficult to have an actual position over this because, you know, we're not experts. I'm certainly not an expert about these things. But of course, it feels strange and unusual that all of a sudden all these trees would be removed. There was some official response from on behalf of the government. The government says that, again, this was necessary, and the government denies that this will have an adverse impact on the environment. The different commissions that are in charge of nature resources are mentioned in this article. But I do think it's rather unusual that even we're looking at, this is the headmaster or rector of the local university. He came down to take a look at this and made comments about it. Apparently he was saying, I'm not playing the audio because the audio is in Spanish, of course. But he was mentioning that he tried to approach some local authorities, and of course he was talking to people that he didn't even know, so he was not going to talk to people that didn't have any answers. And the university rector did indicate or hinted to the possibility that the local government might be attempting to develop along the banks of the river. Now, again, this is just hearsay at this point. We don't know as a fact whether this is exactly what it is, and it just looks sad and suspicious to those of us that don't know much on the subject matter, or whether the local government is indeed trying to do something strange and unusual with developing those pieces of land. Again, we don't know, but I think what's important about this bit of news is that locals are taking notice. So if the government is up to something strange, I'm sure it will come under scrutiny. And how sad that we are so untrusting of the government when it comes to situations like this. But I guess it is in our nature to be distrustful. It is in our nature to question. So hopefully we will continue to look at this bit of news as if it continues to develop in any way, shape, or form. We happen to know that we are going to have or weather forecasts for the season say that we're going to have a lot of water this year. There's going to be a lot of storms. So again, whether they're doing this to clean the river and watch out for heavy waterfalls, it's unclear. But I wanted to bring it up because this will probably come up in your conversations, and I wanted you to have something to talk about, and we will continue to look at it. Moving on with more headlines. Vallarta Opina reports that there has been good and immediate response. There are tourists arriving in Puerto Vallarta by land, by air, of course, with hotels being limited to 25 to 30% capacity. They're coming to capacity quite quickly. There is no indication of when and how much the possibility to allow more guests into hotels is going to happen. My hunch, and this is just a hunch, is that 1 week or two will go by before these guidelines get loosened up because of the nature of the virus. The virus, as we know, has approximately a 2-week period of incubation. So it is my hunch that authorities are waiting for 2 weeks to go by to see how the numbers increase as we move forward. Now, speaking of arriving, Vallarta Opina also features a detailed account by a passenger by the name of Axel Charles, who after quarantine came back to Puerto Vallarta by way of Cancun and then Mexico City, and she details what her experience was like flying. And reading through it, I will not give you all the details unless you want to hear all the details. But apparently this person thought it was very odd that, well, it's the protocols that are being followed in airports. You know, I'm sure that everybody's trying to learn what the protocols are best, but she thought, I think it's a she thought it was odd that when it was time to get on the plane, there was a lot of distance between passenger and passenger, which sounds safe. But then the plane was full to capacity, so all the people were sitting next to each other. So where did safe distance go? And so forth and so on. And again, I don't bring this up as a means to criticize the airline or the airports or whatever. I bring this up simply because it is a sign of how there's all kinds of new regulations that we're going to have to get used to moving forward. Let's take a quick look at the next one, which also has to do with flying. And this comes to us from CNET that shows us that airlines may ban passengers from future flights for not wearing face masks. This is airlines such as America, Delta, Southwest, and other major airlines. So if you I saw a really funny graphic on Facebook this morning, and it came from one of our regular viewers. And the phrase said something along the lines of, if you think you don't like a face mask, you should try a respirator. And I think that's true. A lot of us find the face masks annoying, but it is one of the simplest and easiest ways in which we can take care of the people that are around us and take care of ourselves. Moving on. Oh my God, yes, I have to tell you that I have a special guest on the show today. Where is he? Where did he go? Meet the 3-Foot Vortex of Poo. I'm sorry, if you were with us yesterday, we reported that some credible source says that when you go to the bathroom and you take a poo and you flush, there is this invisible 3-foot vortex of poo that comes out of your toilet. And I thought it was silly, and it's probably true. And the way it was written was just poetic and weird. And of course, Rita Myers, who's a regular viewer, came up to the best scientific conclusion, and I'm sure she's part of the same scientific panel. She says, if you're concerned about the vortex, just close the lid on your bathroom after you go number 2. Anyhow, I bring this up. Say goodbye to the vortex of poo. Goodbye. I bring this up because the vortex of poo is making international headlines. Now, I saw a bit of news that, again, this comes from, it's a translation of an article that appeared in the magazine called Physics of Fluids that continues to talk about this. And I don't want to direct much more attention to it other than the fact that I think you should know that the vortex of poo is going around. Along the lines of coronavirus, Jalisco, our state, is entering what is known as the critical stage of the virus. And it is expected that it will reach its peak in Jalisco in the last week of June, between the last week of June and the first week of July. But this also means that we will continue to have coronavirus cases until the month of October. So this is not something, as we know, and we've known this for a while, this is not something that is going to go away very quickly. So there it is. We continue to be careful. We continue to take precautions going out. Nothing has changed as far as the guidelines that we should follow to keep ourselves and others safe. So just keep this in mind. But it is good to know at least that according to the official numbers that we may reach the peak of the pandemic soon, and hopefully the number of cases will start to slowly and progressively diminish. Let me take a quick look at your comments just to see if there's anything that we can address. Boom, 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 boom. Just a shout out to a wonder person who has reopened her pub, 1-9 Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. Excellent. I've never been, but if they've reopened, we wish them good luck. If anybody has any comments about Kelly's Por Favor, please share them with us. Paul asks, aren't riverbanks federal zone like the beach? I believe that is the case. So again, I don't know what is going on behind these decisions. I was actually thinking of asking your husband because he's working at City Hall. So we'll see what this is about. Again, the trees are already gone. It's really sad, but at least it's good that people are asking questions and are keeping their eyes open. Let's see. Linda Elfers is new. It's nice to see you here, Linda. Oh my God, your sisters are the owners of Beach Crossers. I really want to get in touch with them. I don't know if you guys know about this. Beach Crossers was brought up in the show a few days ago. And this is a wonderful company that provides means for people that are, oh dear, I don't want to say the politically incorrect way. Okay, scratch that. Here we go. If you're here and you need to get around and you need a wheelchair or things that help you get around. Beach Crossers takes care of this for you. They rent the equipment. Imagine wanting to come here for a vacation and having to think about the logistics of bringing your own motorized scooter or things like that. Well, apparently, Beach Crossers does this, and I think that's a really awesome thing. Linda, I'm going to try to get in touch with your sister, and we definitely want to get to know more about this service, because I think it's wonderful that people that think they cannot enjoy Puerto Vallarta because of handicap accessibility or lack of thereof now have that possibility. So a shout out back to you and to your sister. Many people on the flights were not using masks. Well, again, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the airlines to do something, and hopefully the airlines will find a way to make it comfortable for the largest number of people possible. Yes, masks are good. The vortex of poo is going around. Well, yeah, that's what vortexes do. And yes, I'm quoting you. I'm so glad that these vortexes of poo are not visible to the human eye. Otherwise, we would all be ducking wherever we go. Earl says he was not allowed into H&M. This brings up an interesting point. What do we do about these things? Well, you know, the government says that we're supposed to stay home if we're over 60. If a store chooses not to serve people of a certain age by the book, I suppose that's discrimination. I would suggest, Earl, that if you were not allowed into the store, you get in touch with the management and ask why, or the corporate office of H&M, and ask why and when they plan to lift that. We're all traveling through new and unexplored waters. I'm not saying that what happened to you is right or wrong or fair or unfair, but I do believe, or I wish to believe, that people are moving forward, making changes and implementing things with the best intention to make the right decision. And I will bring up something that happened to my friend Paul, who is watching, in which during the event that was recorded as part of virtual Pride celebrations at his hotel, the hotel reached capacity, and a friend of the owner, this case being Paul, sent Paul scathing remarks on private chat saying, you know, how dare you not let me into your hotel? And Paul replied with a very beautiful message that has been shared around the Facebook and such. I'll try to find it and maybe put it in the show notes, along the lines that, you know, when folks are reopening businesses, they're trying to reinvent the wheel as best as they can. And it is up to us to be understanding and appreciative of that, or not. It is a personal choice. So again, going back to your specific situation, Earl, my best wish for you is that you try to look at it from that perspective, and hopefully, you know, get in touch with the store. Let them know how you feel. Maybe they are not aware of the fact that they may be making a wrong decision there. Ryan chimes in. Ryan is a very well-known real estate developer here in town. And it's nice to have this clarity. Ryan, since you're a developer, maybe, or you're involved in real estate, maybe you know if there's something murky going on there. I don't mean to say that all developments are murky, but I'm just putting it out there in case you have the tea on this situation. Let's see. Shout out to Thomas Simon Salon for following protocols when somebody's getting a haircut. That's good to know. Terry, oh, is that you from Beach Crossers? That's good to know, because you've been here before. I would love to interview you, and maybe you can come on Skype, or maybe we can meet, because I think what you do is awesome. Yay. This is wonderful. Let's see. Mari Bishop went to El Barracuda last night. You know, El Barracuda is one of those restaurants, the few restaurants that I've been going to, and I have to say, it not only have they served excellent food and consistently wonderful food for years, they've distanced their tables. Everybody takes very good care of you, and they're behaving very responsibly as far as regulations are concerned. And I hope you don't find this quoting boring, but I really want to make sure that we give praise and shout out all the businesses that are trying to move forward. For us locals, I think this is really important. Thank you for watching, Margaret. Thank you very much. Does anybody know if the Puerto Vallarta airport requires face masks? I don't know the answer to your question, Sherry. I do know, and take this as a suggestion, just wear yours. I wear mine whether it is required or not because it makes me feel safe and it makes me feel like I'm respecting others' boundaries. So I don't know what the guideline is, but I invite you to choose to make that decision for yourself and simply wear yours wherever you go. I hope that's helpful. Beam, baram, bam, bam. Well, I'm reading Harv's comment, and I hope to believe that this is true, and I have no reason to disbelieve it. But again, it is something that everybody can learn a little bit about in terms of just explaining why things happen. I know it's not the government's responsibility to make a call to the whole citizenship and say, oh, by the way, we're going to dig into the river because we want to take care of you. But, it is one of those things that that raises concern. Let's see. Kathleen ordered cookies from Araceli, the cookie lady. She is awesome. Oh, by the way, Kathleen, I don't know if you folks watched yesterday, Kathleen and Todd made a mention on Facebook, which turned out to be, I think, a really effective promotional vehicle. I don't know if you intended it as such, Kathleen, but yesterday they posted a photo on Facebook that had something to do with, guess what, our new mystery flavor is that we're making, and they received a lot of comments. I even commented maybe it's spicy sweet mole ice cream, which I happen to love, and it was so funny to watch because if I was the owner of Licks, I would be thinking, oh my goodness, this is a great resource and a great source of information because my viewers are telling me what they're craving. So maybe this was a deliberate attempt. And if that is the case, I congratulate you, Kathleen and Todd, because you created a lot of engagement from the community. And that is what we look for here on Facebook. We look to engage viewers. To that effect, I'm always grateful that all of you write all these comments and so many of you join us today. I see there's 127 of you, which makes me feel goosebumpy and special. So I'm curious as to what the flavor of the ice cream was. If it is public knowledge, please share with us, and I look forward to learning about that. Tuna azudo no las altas, great food, meticulous attention to rules. That's great to know. Acareta, I don't know acareta, but again, it's la careta, says David. Morning, Paco. Let me know, private, where we can send you your soup and pad thai tonight. Have a fabulous one. Michael, what we want is we want to interview you. So I will let you know privately where I can have my soup and pad thai delivered, which would be lovely. If you tell me in private when and how we can visit and have a brief interview, because you have a lot of fans. We want to get close to you and find out how things are going. What's going on with the mystery flavor? Oh, wow. Ferrero Rocher? Wow. Uh-oh. I think I'm going to be going to Licks today. That sounds delicious. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Dale gives us the other side of Barracuda, and this is good to know. A waiter came outside and hugged and kissed a few women waiting in the lineup. Well, again, we can choose to comment about that among ourselves. We can choose to bring it up to the management. It is good to know that things are going on. So there you go. There you go. Let me switch over to leisurely stuff because I do have a few things that I want to share with you. And here we go. Cue the leisurely music. We mentioned a few... wait, that was supposed to be the weather. Why are we not looking at the weather? Ha. Let's bring up the weather before we move into anything else. And there she is. The weather is 80 degrees. It feels like 84. Celsius is 27. humidity 72%. It's going to be a little cloudy today. We have a 25% cloud coverage. And Snarky Carrot Weather says, you wouldn't believe how little I have to pay politicians to go around saying climate change is fake news. That is so snarky. I tell you, not a nice thing to say if you ask me. Anyhow, I have been telling you about Ruta Gastronómica, which is this new effort that is being made in Colonia Versalles to promote their restaurants. And they're starting to make news. There is an article that I picked up here that talks about how many of the restaurant owners in Versalles are ganging is not a good word to use in this context, that are working together, collaborating to promote their restaurants. A lot of the restaurants that are involved have a few things in common. For example, they are fairly new. Many are owned by young, new entrepreneurs. And if you notice, there is now a Facebook page associated with this initiative, and it's called La Versalles. And by looking at the photograph here, actually, if we click on the About page, we see logos for many restaurants we know and love, such as Opa, Oregano, Santa Jamona, Macareno, and so forth and so on. They say they are a collective that is looking to tighten bonds among the different restaurants in the barrio of La Versalles. Their intention is simple: to support consumption of local products and local restaurants, and to reactivate that economy. So I'm going to leave you with the address for this page. It is still unclear whether this is just a promotional marketing effort or if they are going to actually be planning regularly scheduled events. There are not details as of yet. But being one who lives close to La Versalles, I am happy to see this initiative. You may be wondering why La Versalles and not Lo Versalles or El Versalles. This is very common practice in Spanish, in case you're curious. If you ask me in Spanish where I live, you might say, ¿Dónde vives? And I can answer, en la Colonia Versalles, which is the complete phrase, or you can answer en La Versalles. So them calling it La Versalles means or implies that they're talking about La Colonia Versalles, or the Versalles neighborhood. And that's where the word La comes from. Not to be confused with La Comer, which is a totally different thing. And we talked about La Comer the other day. But that's your little factoid on what's going on with this new culinary initiative. I'm proud and happy to say that I've been to most of the restaurants mentioned. So I am definitely going to find out more about how this is coming along and what it means to those of us that enjoy supporting the wonderful restaurants in this neighborhood. And speaking of food, if you happen to be a baker, I found this fascinating article on the science of baking on Greatest today. I won't spend much time here because I assume that not everybody enjoys baking. But if you enjoy baking, you may enjoy reading this article. Also from Greatest, we get this article that suggests, hold on just a second, let me mute my microphone. Bless me. This article suggests a few activities that you can enjoy outside, safe activities. This is not necessarily an outside activity, booking a rental unit or Airbnb, but it has to do with going away somewhere and booking your own facility, backpacking and camping, day tripping to the beach. The beach is considered to be one of the safest things that you can do as long as you save distance. And again, the article continues. These suggestions, I might add, come from a website published in the United States, of course, and they have little to do with whatever guidelines are set forth for our city, our own government, and so forth. So take them with a grain of salt. This might suggest some things that we can no longer do. But if you're thinking, what can I be doing or what can I start doing that is on the safest side of things, then this might be an article you may want to read. Along the same lines, if you enjoy going to the theater, this is sad news, and you may want to read that the theater industry in the United Kingdom is facing a lot of difficult times because of what's going on with COVID-19. And you can read more details about this in this article that I picked up from The Guardian. The next bit of news is a little bit personal, and it's really silly because this morning I spotted this on YouTube, and this is a short video of a bunch of Spartans marching, holding hands while they're, oh my God, I'm going to cough again. Excuse me. A bunch of Spartans marching together to the chant of "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor. And I figured, okay, so what is this? Where is this coming from? And of course, they were nice to look at. And this turns out to be from a movie called Meet the Spartans that was made a while back. I think it was 2006, 2008. And I never heard of this before, but of course, Meet the Spartans and hunky guys running around seems like something I might enjoy. And lo and behold, this was a movie that was a parody. I read through this New York Times review. And it was done as a response to another movie called The 300, which I didn't see either. And whereas The 300 was a movie that was not criticized, but a lot of people commented that it was very homoerotic, lots of male nudity or whatever. This turned out to be a response to it, featuring Carmen Electra, Sean Maguire, and Kevin Sorbo, who is not difficult to look at, if you ask me. Anyhow, why do I bring this up? Well, because I had no idea that this had come out, and it looks like silly humor. And this is precisely the kind of humor I could use these days. I don't know about you, but Meet the Spartans, a bunch of hunky Spartans running around and playing games and kissing each other. That sounds like something I could use, if you ask me. So if you've watched this movie and it's horrible, please, slap me so that I don't waste an hour and a half of my time. But we'll take a quick look at where we can find it, and I'll report back on the movie. A quick look at your last minute comments, and then we'll get on with our day. Let me see. Boom, bam, bam. So many great restaurants in Versailles. Absolutely. I have been a fan ever since I moved to La Vena, which is the neighborhood next to Versailles. Many of the wonderful restaurants are within walking distance. When will you take a walking trip along the Río Cuale Island and the Rio Malecón? Maybe today, Clay, maybe tomorrow at the latest, but definitely before the weekend is over. I intended to do it the other day, but I'll be honest with you, I found myself walking in the middle of the day. It was really hot. I was wearing my face mask, and it was a little challenging. So because I'm always busy during the mornings, with you, of course, with Coffee and Headlines. What I'll try to do is I'll try to go out there maybe this afternoon, late afternoon, when the sun has started to set down, and I'll keep you posted. Laurel, good morning. Thank you for watching us from Bucerías. I hope things are going well in your neck of the woods. Why not just Versailles? Well, Ellen, I couldn't tell you because I'm not a restaurant owner. But again, it is quite common to call neighborhoods La something. So that's why I explain that. Let's see, what else? Belgium left Quebec after 20 years there. Oh, wonderful. This looks like a long positive message. I don't mean to disapprove of long positive messages. It's difficult to read the whole thing. But I am so glad that you are having a good life here, Catherine. I'm always happy to hear from all your wonderful stories and all the wonderful things that you enjoy of living here. I will leave you with a question, and this is a little bit of Uh, oh, you wanted? Oh, Patty, thank you very much. My face mask came from the nice folks of. Oh dear, we talked about them weeks ago, and they have a Facebook page. Somebody help me. Magenta, Maxentha, I believe. They make fashionable face masks. They're really heavy because they're supposed to protect you. So that's that's where that came from. Oh, I love Mark's comment. Rent it from Amazon if I need to see it. Okay, so it must be not very good. Maybe I'll smoke a little bit of weed before I watch it so that it can become less painful. I don't know. Patty says, take care of that cough. Patty, I appreciate the concern. Full disclosure, I don't have a fever. I've had a little bit of a chest cold, but I feel fine. I've been watching my temperature, and I feel strongly that it is just a little bit of a chest cold. Plus, a couple of nights ago, I like gobbled some granola, and the granola went down the wrong place, and I coughed and coughed and coughed. So maybe that's what it is. Can I post the site address later? I don't know specifically which one you're referring to, Patty, but as you know, all the different things that we mention on the news, and I go this way because this is where my other monitor is and where I'm reading the news. I always share all the headlines, the URLs for all the news once the show is over. So if you give me a few minutes, I will share that with you. Boom, bang, bam, 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 bam. Okay, so I think that's basically it. Oh, I was going to ask you, I was going to give you some homework. And the homework is, I just wonder if you are as dizzy as I am. And what I mean by that is, this is a real story, and I'm not ashamed of it. It's just the way I was designed. This morning, I was sitting here minding my own business, getting the news ready for you, and I was heating up some water in my tea kettle. And once the tea kettle was started whistling, I heard the noise, and instead of getting up to turn it off, I turned this way where my Alexa speaker is, and I said, Alexa, stop. Needless to say, my kettle kept making noise, and eventually I realized I had just had a Paco dizzy moment. So I wonder if you have dizzy moments. I wonder if you put things in the refrigerator like the iron by mistake. I do that every now and then, and it's nothing new. Before you start commenting that it has something to do with my age, I've been dizzy for years. So I wonder if you're dizzy too. Let's talk about dizziness on Sunday Funday. So be thinking, if you want to join me on Sunday, about how dizzy you are. And maybe if I learn that you are as dizzy as I am, I'll feel a little better about myself. Also, for Sunday Funday, I've already decided that I'm going to teach you how to sing a song in Spanish. And it is a song that you hear everywhere in this city. And I bet you are going to be amused by what it is. But it is only Thursday. We have a few days to go before we get to the weekend. Just tomorrow. I wonder what you'll be doing this weekend that is different than what you were doing last weekend. I wonder if your ability to reach out and reconnect with the world is becoming more relaxed. But if it is, just try to remember to be careful and try to remember to take care of yourself and those around you. Wear your face mask. Only go out and do what is absolutely necessary. Go out and enjoy nature. Nature is one of those places where it is very easy to be grateful for the place that we live in. I know that I will go back to the Río Cuale upriver where I like to go. I will be doing some video up there also so that you can have a sense as to where I've been and where I go. Always wearing my face mask, of course. And that's basically it. Between now and tomorrow, or whenever we get together again, we wish you, Luna and I, that you'll stay healthy, that you'll stay safe, that you'll stay happy, that you'll stay inspired, that you will go and bake something wonderful, or simply, just have a good day. And I hope you will. I'll see you soon.